Analyst Richard Calland has co-written an article on how South Africa and Germany can help the world. Calland believes the two countries have a rare opportunity to build a common platform that can be a springboard for advancing a range of significant issues. Well, let's chat to Richard Calland via Skype this evening. Richard, thanks so much for your time. So let's first start off with our relationship with Germany. And, you know, when I think about this, all I can think about is German efficiency and precision. And we know Germany already has a presence in South Africa. Several companies here already. The simple question at the moment, before we go to what these two countries can do for the rest of the world, is what more can Germany do for a very troubled South Africa at the moment, and vice versa?
Well, it's obvious that today's number one topic for conversation between President Ramaphosa and Chancellor Merkel would have been inward investment. It would have been trying to convince the German President, but also German Chancellor, but also the German business delegation that has accompanied her, that this is a good place to invest. Now, Ramaphosa can sell a good story, despite the challenges. I'm sure that what Chancellor Merkel will have done in return would have pushed back hard in relation to some of the obstacles that currently are perceived to be standing in the way of investment, whether it be red tape, whether it be visa issues, whether it be uncertainty in policy areas such as opening up the energy sector to private investment. On all of these issues, I suspect that the Chancellor would have been quite frank, quite candid with Sir Ramaphosa, and he would have had to listen to that. And after all, he's the one who has to create the right conditions for that sort of investment.
Well, Richard, what is it that Merkel and Ramaphosa have in common? And there are quite a few things that they seem to have in common. For example, you know, Germany will hold the EU presidency during the second half of the year. At the same time, Ramaphosa will chair the African Union for the whole of this year, and both serving the second year of their respective two-year terms as two of the 10 temporary members of the United Nations Security Council. How do we see that adding value to their working relationship, and what it is they can do for the rest of the world?
So it's very clear that the geopolitics of humanity at the moment is in a very precarious position. And you've got a growing sense of nationalism around the world. You've got an attempt by people like Bolsonaro in Brazil, Trump in the United States, even Johnson in Britain, to break down multilateral organizations, to break down the norms and standards and the rule of law internationally. Now, here we have an opportunity for two leaders to say, no, we stand against that trend. We are strongly behind multilateralism. We are going to build the rule of law. We're going to defend global democratic institutions. And we're going to find common cause on a range of issues, whether it be human rights, whether it be peace and security. Women, peace and security is a particular area of collaboration so far on the Security Council. And as you rightly say in your introduction there to this question, there are these intriguing 3 points of influence and authority that brings these two countries together this year. Both are on the Security Council of the UN for another year. One is chairing the African Union, South Africa, obviously, and the Germans will be the holders of the EU presidency, a significant position in Europe, from the middle of the year onwards. Can these two leaders leverage those regional power positions and their common agenda to find deeper collaboration? That's the question. I know that on issues such as climate change and climate action, just energy transition, and issues such as that, Chancellor Merkel would have been raising those topics. They wouldn't have been covered in the public pronouncements that followed the conversation this morning, but that's part of their agenda, to find common cause on peace and security, but probably also climate emergency issues.
Well, let's talk about things that are happening outside of their hands at the moment, but might still have quite an influence on what goes on in both countries and both continents as well. I mean, we have Brexit, which is, you know, in its phase where it is at the moment, the transition phase, and then we also have the US-China trade war. How are we expecting these? How are we expecting both of these countries to navigate both of these because of South Africa's relationship with Britain as well, and also China?
Well, the Brexit issue obviously complicates the relationship. The EU is the biggest on-bloc trading partner of South Africa. Clearly, Brexit means that Britain is no longer part of that relationship, so South Africa is now going to have to contend with two sets of trading relationships, one with the remaining 26 countries of the European Union and one with Great Britain, as Brexit takes effect. That's a complication. It means also for Germany, as they take over the EU presidency later this year, they are also having to contend with how to reorganize and reunify European Union at this time of not crisis, but certainly serious challenge to the European Union. Meanwhile, in Africa, whether it's the DRC or Libya or South Sudan or even Mozambique on our borders, there are a range of conflict zones and areas of peace and security that will require attention at the Security Council, but also in regional fora such as the African Union. And there, South Africa will be calling on German support.
All right.